Before we get started, folks, make sure you're subscribed with the bell on so you don't miss any content we post here on the Minnesota Made Outdoors YouTube channel. Let's get into the show. Roll that intro.
Welcome to the world of competitive ice fishing. Anglers from the Ultimate Panfish League and Minnesota Made Outdoors take to the hard water to test their angling skills against some of the best on ice. This is the weigh-in. Minnesota Made Outdoors presents The Weigh-In. Brought to you by Dan Rawlings Real Estate. Also brought to you by Thunderstruck Exteriors.
Welcome back to The Weigh-In. This is episode 2. I am your host, Tony Dahlberg, the Real Tone D. We got a ton of great feedback from you guys in episode 1. Thank you so much for those of you that chimed in, gave us comments, shot us texts and emails. It was much appreciated. So this time, we're going to focus our attention on getting you guys the information you need to catch more fish this season and become better ice fishermen. We've got some great on-ice action from a few teams this past weekend, some really good informative interviews from our top teams. Then we're going to take a look at how you break down a lake using lake maps before you hit the ice. We'll close it all out with an in-depth look at a couple teams from both leagues, and of course, we'll hear from our resident gambling expert, Gordy Howardchuk with Dirty Money. Let's see some of those hook sets and heartbreaks from this last event out on the ice. Better. Crowdy. Big hybrid. Dude, that's heavy fish. No! Crappie! There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. There we go. Get that thing. Please be a crappie. It is. That's a good fish, too. That's going to be a gill. That's going to be a gill. Oh, yeah. I might upgrade one of those smaller ones. Dang, I got one going too. Get it. Yes, yes! That away. Be the one. Be the one, baby. Yes! Woo! Yes! Oh! Paul Ghizoni and Matt Johnson got some great information from our top teams this past weekend. Let's see what they've got to tell us.
Hey guys, I'm here with our third place team. Travis Jacob, Jimmy Roberge. Tell me one thing today that worked well for you guys when you were actually fishing for your crappies. What'd you use? What was the target? As far as depth goes.
We were in 10 or 11 and in weeds, and Yeah, big crappie. We got big fish today, and
0.99 was big fish.
0.99, and that was on a plastic. And
Okay. Any specific color that worked particularly well, or something you guys tried to hone in on as far as naturals or brights go?
I'm not too picky with
Yeah.
JG. I mean, we
Keep it
we use the same. He used the same one for 5 years.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. Which one is that? Or is that a secret too?
Well, I don't use it anymore. I switched to a clam dropkick jig is what I use 90% of the time.
Any specific color that you like to use?
White or black.
Okay.
Always. And then chigger fries, the best plastic out there.
Got it.
And so what we figured out in practice, we've seen all the fish that everybody else was fishing up in the shallow water, the littler crappies. We were in 10 to 12 foot. We used our live scope prior, found little clumps of weeds, probably 3 feet around, and just wave pointed them into my hummingbird. And we just jumped from 25 different wave points today on just individual patches of weeds, and they held every single crappie in.
Got it. So you're in there with the live scope, and then you put your camera down probably to identify the fish. See what you know. Are they bluegills? Are they crappies? Are they bass?
Yeah.
Catch any fun fish today?
Nope.
Any goofy ones?
We didn't.
Nothing. Okay. When you're cameraing and you run into weeds that you like, describe what those look like.
Well, the taller cabbage is always better. And it just, the green flat mat in this lake holds no fish
Yep.
for us. You don't find any fish on that. Once you find like a little bit taller cabbage that are actually died off a little bit, that's where all the crappies, and our seeds and crappies were all mixed in. And they're all on just these isolated patches of weeds. And it might be 20, 30 feet in between the two patches. So it wasn't you just fishing next to each other. We'd be 20, 30 feet away, and then we'd hop to these different patches of weeds.
Do you feel like that's a pretty similar pattern on other lakes that you fish? That's different. Okay.
Like if we find a good weed line, we'd like to just be consistent on a weed line. This was a lot harder for us.
As far as
It was
fishing
hard.
the same depth as you mean?
Yeah.
Being consistent on the
Yeah.
same depth? Okay.
We had 5 days, and I think we put a milk run of 30 wave points of these patches of weeds that held fit.
Okay.
So it was work.
Yeah.
And usually if you can find a weed line in deeper water, you're going to catch bigger fish.
Got it.
That's not the case in the
And when you worked, do you guys split up? Do you work together?
Always together.
Always together.
So we don't, typically even in tournament time, we do not fish unless we put a camera down and see a fish, because it's a waste of time for us. So he'll be cameraing, he'll be like, fish. I run over there with my stuff, I'll fish, or vice versa. I'll throw a camera down, I'm like, there's a pumpkin seed here. And he'll run over and he'll throw his line down.
That's outstanding information, I think, for anybody who's looking for tips out here. What's next for you guys? Fishing, you're taking off? You're not going to be on West Rush?
Well, I'm gonna try to help out and see if I can't pre-fish a couple days, but it's about an hour and 45-minute drive, so it might be. I don't know. We were hoping to take this one down to have, because the next two are going to be a little tough. So
Far for us.
You came awfully close. You guys are sitting, you're tied for, I think you're in second place for Team of the Year right now. Probably 1 point behind Nick and Leif. And you're going to have to find us up.
Yeah.
That's what we got. You got him.
The guy who fishes the Frankie's tournaments with me will be stepping in. So.
Okay, got it. Well, we'll see how it meshes. I mean, it's hard when you got a partner that's hammering a monkey like this.
Yeah. He's got both of our big crappies this year, so hopefully the new partner can do the same.
Snowmobile parade through. They're just going to send it. Nice day fishing, gentlemen. It was awesome. Excellent job. Thank you very much.
Great work, guys.
Guys, I'm here with Leif Nerison and Nick Mueller. Currently in first place for Team of the Year. They've got a first place finish underneath their belt. Today they came in second out here in Waconia. First thing I want to know is how much time you put in this weekend, or this week should I say, and kind of what was the strategy when you guys were looking for your fish?
We put only 2 days in. We didn't put the time in that was necessary to win. But I feel very thankful for today's bag. It proves that you just never give up. You just keep grinding and good things happen.
So you were fishing fish that you wanted to actually stick. You found them during the week, and you're like, "That's my spot. I'm going there, number one." Do you struggle with spot number one and spot number two at all? What do you guys talk about that the night before?
We really only had one spot.
We had one spot.
Okay.
We really had one spot.
Okay.
It was a community spot. Going out fourth heat, we were a little nervous, and it's like, well, we'll see what happens. And we go out there, and we just so happened to pull up on the pin where we wanted to go. And it was pretty tight out there, but it worked out.
So you fished a spot that was how big today? 50 feet by 50 feet, 100 by 100?
Maybe.
Majority of them came
40 feet by 40
Yeah,
feet.
pretty tight.
Majority of them did. Yep.
Yep, and so you fished it. Did you get your full bag this morning?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
no, not crappies. We got our crappies pretty quick this morning, and then we zipped off and got our bluegills, and happened to upgrade 2 crappies when we were doing that kind of by surprise.
So you had a second spot for bluegills.
Yep.
Okay, got it. And then you upgraded a couple crappies there too.
Yeah, wasn't planning on it.
But you
Luck
had.
strikes again. Luck strikes again.
I know you said you didn't put in the necessary time to win a tournament, but you guys were that close again to taking down another victory. What's the what are we missing? Do we have everything here? Is there a secret bait that you guys are using, or what can you tell these guys who want to know? What are these guys using to catch fish?
Hey, if Northland Tackle's listening, I really love your sliver spoon that you no longer make in green perch, the smallest one for crappies. I appreciate it if you brought that.
Or maybe something similar. No, it's got to be that.
Well, no, but that's what I use today.
Got it.
Blue though, I don't have green.
I overheard. I was fishing really, really close to you. You got it stuck on the bottom of the ice. How did you get that out?
Got some help.
Okay, that's
Tree
it.
branch.
Tree branch.
That's the last one I got.
That was awesome.
No, I'll tell you one product that really helped me a lot though today was my new Vexilar. That FLX 30 BB was so nice. I brought my old unit out last weekend, and trying to figure out where you're at in the weed column is really difficult. Man, you can really tone into what you want to see with the different frequencies and powers, and I think it really helped me today put fish on the ice.
That's a good tip. So when you're fishing weeds, you're able to hone your Vexilar in to kind of either.
I narrowed that cone.
Yep.
And I decreased the power, so you can see your jig amongst them weeds.
And not mark the weeds in the column of your Vexilar, right?
So,
That's awesome.
good job, Vexilar.
It kind of cuts out visibility to the fish, but you kind of know where they are, so you start jigging high and start bringing it down, and then they come in. It's a lot easier to see them because you cut out the weeds. So yeah, that was good. We used the pinhead minnow with Euros a lot today.
Color.
Green. Green, a little bit of yellow. So that was killer for the pumpkin seeds and crappies. And then just like a 3 mil drop jig with waxies right in the boat.
3 mil drop with a wax worm.
Yep.
4 mil, number 14.
Okay.
Gold with a waxy.
Got it. Some good information here, guys. Hope you're taking notes. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Second place finish.
Thank you.
Sitting in first place for Team of the Year after 2 events. Nick, Leif. We'll talk to these guys again, I think, in the near future. All right, I'm sitting here with Chris Ball, Timmy Karen, our winners here on Lake Waconia. Everybody wants to know, what was the secret? Where did you find them, and where were you fishing?
Well, we had 2 spots. Basically, we were fishing 7 feet of water, fine pockets, no vegetation, probably about 1.5 feet off the bottom, and then 5 feet, just bouncing your jig right there, and they came right out of the weeds and smacked her.
So you were using plastics today.
Yep.
Stayed away from meat all day?
All day. This is the one pull I had in my hand all day.
Hold that like that so they can see it. That's a pretty cool looking plastic. What do you call that?
It's a buddy from Iowa that custom makes them and sends me packages every once in a while.
Is this a bait that you fish on other lakes as well?
No, this is the first day I ever threw it down.
Okay, got it. How about you, Timmy?
I had a lot of confidence today on power bait. That's what I threw. I threw the mayfly around a lot, and it worked good for me. I caught bluegills and crappies on it. I didn't switch much today, actually. More or less fished one pole all day.
And you guys were fishing in one spot, you found both your fish on that spot, or did you have a secondary spot for a specific species, bluegill or crappie?
We went and got our crappies in one spot in the morning, and then luckily we actually caught a couple of good gills actually out of the spot. And after that we went to our bluegill spot, and lo and behold, it was full of crappies today. And we got real lucky, and we ended up upgrading about half a bag of crappies before we ended up catching bluegills.
I'm crossing my arms like this at you right now. That's awesome. Everything came together today for you guys.
Yeah.
When you guys you're kind of consistently in the top teams here, and you guys, this is your second year fishing Minnesota May.
Yep.
You guys seem to break down a lake pretty darn well. So what can you tell somebody who's going to a lake for the first time, what should they look for if they're looking to find crappies and bluegills?
Well, this lake is totally different than anyone we've really been on. Every good fish in this lake seems to be hanging around the vegetation. And that main lake stuff, we looked all over out in the basins, never saw a fish out there. I don't know if they just relate so much to the vegetation in this lake. But once we saw some fish, and we just basically did that whole all the way
Try to
from,
mimic the same pattern or
find
shoreline
inside
or
pockets.
Okay.
Seem to hold better fish. And that, I mean, nothing drastically huge for inside pockets, just little cuts. And that's what we were looking for.
Okay,
Little
got it.
transitions on flats. Majority of our fish were hanging around flats. So at the end of the day, if you had a little transition within the flat, you were to find fish on it.
Got it. Inside, outside, top. Did you find anything other than weeds that were relating to brake lines, rock, gravel, anything
No.
like that?
I had
Nothing
no
like
idea why the fish were sitting in spots where they were. I spent enough time cameraing around
Yeah.
and just luckily ran into fish. More or less all it really
that. I
was.
talked to a couple of the teams that got out here and we're doing camera work and we're having a hard time finding crappies. It seemed to me like you had to get through the weeds and everything was hunkered down. Did you guys see any fish up in the column like you would traditionally think a crappie's
No.
going to sit in? Okay.
No.
Were you
Never
surprised
seen
by
fish
that?
roaming. Very.
Very.
And at the end of the day, all it made me realize is that this lake has to be chock full of muskies because there's a reason why these fish are scared. So,
Did you camera any muskies?
when we cameraed, I cameraed a lot of holes, but we cameraed 9 muskies out here pre-fishing. Not many under 40. We cameraed a lot of nice
Oh, wow.
fish. So I can tell you they're in here. That much I can tell
They're
you.
cruising the weed line edge.
Okay.
You know, it's like they're keeping all the fish inside the vegetation.
Right.
And they're so afraid to get out of there.
I like that theory.
Yeah.
I think that's a good theory.
Yeah, and I think that's why they hang in the vegetation in this lake. They're just scared.
Interesting. So, we'll wrap up. Is there anything else you guys want to give us as far as tips or tricks? How is this gonna? Are you gonna try and mimic the same pattern on Rush when we go next? Or?
I hope not. I hope it doesn't take as many holes for me to find fish. That's all I hope for.
Yeah.
Nice work today, boys.
Yeah,
You worked
thank you.
hard. You deserve a victory.
Thank you.
8-pound bag here on Lake Waconia. That's the biggest bag that we've seen with Minnesota Made in 3 years of fishing out here. So, Timmy Karen, Chris Ball are champions today.
Thank you.
We just finished our second UPL event of the year on Big Marine. I hope you watched the live weigh-in because we cracked the top 5 all-time leaderboard with Mike and Travis's weight. I got the 3 top teams from today. Gonna pick their brains, hopefully give you some ideas on what worked for them, how they caught their fish, so you can go out there and maybe catch some big fish on your own. So in third place, we had Justin and Dave. They got some nice fish. How'd it go today for you guys?
It was good. It started off hot, and then as the sun came up, it kind of died down. But by that time, I think we had most of our fish.
Most of our fish, trying to upgrade, get below the crappies to get some better sunfish. What's working for us is, you know, small piece of tungsten getting down there. Just
Piece of
off
meat on there.
a little piece of meat, you know. And I had a lot of fun out there.
Awesome. Can't beat the weather today.
Absolutely, it's great.
Nice job, guys. Outstanding. Moving over here to second place. Dave Karp also cracked that giant personal best crappie and big fish for the day. You did pretty good today.
I did.
Dave and Tom, second place. How'd it go, boys?
It went well. Yeah, it went really well. We shot out to our spot. I found this. I caught one crappie there yesterday, and we said, we'll let it sit. And we didn't know what we were going to do to start the day, and we decided to just go there, and it worked.
Yeah, we fished a half dozen holes, probably punched 15, but fished probably about half dozen. I fished one bait. It was the 16th ounce blue chrome jointed pinhead. It got me in my gills. It got me all my crappies.
No bait.
It would not. They just loved it. They absolutely loved it.
Yep.
I tried other baits, but that one, they just loved it today. Until the sun came out.
Yeah, as soon as the sun came out, our
Fish were
bite
gone.
died. We came to the weigh-in kind of feeling defeated. We had fished for 4 hours without catching a fish.
And we only had 6 gills.
Yeah.
We had, what, 10, 12 crappies. So we're short on our gills, figuring we're going to weigh 6, 7.
We
You
pull
gotta
up
have
and there's a
7,
couple of
7.
holes drilled. And I'm like, let's fish these quick. We had 5 minutes left. He pops a gill like,
Grab a Vex. All
Poof.
right, let's do it. Threw my plastic down. Hybrid came up, smoked it right away.
Never give up, right?
Filled our bag.
never give up. Wait till the last second.
Nice job, guys. Congrats on that personal best. Just finished the second UPL event of the year on Big Marine. I'm with Travis and Mike. You guys knocked out top 5 big bag of all time. 10.645. How'd it go today?
Good. Mike found a spot yesterday that he cambered and he didn't fish. He just dropped the camera on, found the megas, moved and went back this morning, and I think it was probably the 3rd fish of the morning was a real giant, and then we just kept grinding that spot for a little bit. We had to upgrade some gills, so we peeled out of there and upgraded a couple gills, but not like we wanted to. But I guess we really didn't need. All we needed was 7 today. We didn't need big ones.
You guys crushed it. Pretty great season.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we got into a couple holes. I mean, it's amazing how close you have to get to that right sometimes. People just stay away from it. But that's what we did. We just kept pushing farther and farther up, and then all of a sudden we found a couple holes that were just gangbusters. I mean, that dropper spoon was just, that was money today. I mean, it wasn't even a thought to fish. I mean, when they'd come, you'd watch them. Like for me in my hole, I had one thick stack of weeds, and then I had about a foot gap in between the next patch that came down, and I just sat right in there, and you'd watch them come right up off the bottom, and all of a sudden when they got to that gap, you just started raising, and they would just rocket after it. And I mean, it was gangbusters for a while. I mean, we were shaking for a little. We're like, is this gonna keep going here? You know. So we had a really, really good day.
I think if anything, the other teams that fished that area kind of helped us because they kind of put the squeeze on us, and that kind of pushed us up tighter to the reeds. I mean, that's the only area we had to move to, really. And once we slid in there, it was game over. So, yeah.
I'm a little frustrated with you guys, though. I guess 10.175 would win it today. I lost if this is Price is Right. So, you know what? Hey, heck of a finish, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Nice job.
Buddy. Thank you.
Let's hop into the warming hut and get to know the all-female teams representing Minnesota Made and the UPL this season.
We just finished our second UPL event of the year, and we got a couple gals too that I really like. They catch a lot of fish. They're kicking butt here in the UPL, but we got an all-women team in the UPL making it happen. I thought we'd spend some time with Amy and Allie. What do you think? How's the season going? What do you like about it?
It's a tournament. It's been going pretty good. Today we had a full bag, which was awesome. Our last tournament was definitely trying. Panoptics was a definite necessity. So being able to use stuff like that and see people who are using it that's super huge when it comes to tournaments. But it's going great so far. I'm really looking forward to the next 2 tournaments. How about you? She's new to this, so I'm stoked to have her for a partner.
Yeah, first tournament. It's our second tournament for this. Is actually pretty eye-opening. Yeah, I love it, actually. I like being out on pre-fishing day. Had a great partner. It is a challenge. That Panoptics is a game winner for everyone else, but with us, we use the electronics and do our best to find a fish on our own.
You weighed a whole bag of fish today,
Yeah,
a whole 15, so
Yeah,
you got
we're
it
pretty
done without
proud.
those fancy electronics.
Yep, for sure.
We were proud. Very, very proud, actually. We were very smiling ear to ear today.
One thing that I noticed today, doing some of the Facebook Live stuff, and you guys are always a blast to talk to. I apologize, I missed you at the first one.
I thought you were going to say you're apologizing for showing my snake missed the hole.
No. Yeah, that was funny. But no, what I was going to say, you guys were mentioning, the Panoptics and whatnot. Today, these conditions, this lake,
you couldn't use it.
It was not working.
Not optimal.
So the good news is for you ladies and a lot of other teams that don't have that, level playing field.
Yep.
So that's nice.
Absolutely.
That's how we felt today. We felt that we could compete with everybody else at the same level.
Yeah. And I tell you, pre-fishing was hard out here. We fished a lot. We drilled a lot of holes. We cameraed a lot of holes, and literally we didn't come up on anything till 1 o'clock yesterday. And we're like, sometimes that's how pre-fishing goes. And I've been with this, Matt, like 8 years, I think?
It's been a while.
And
you tried to quit once. I remember that.
I did?
I think so.
No, that was Mike. That was Mike.
He just doesn't
I
like
never
getting. He just doesn't like getting beat by you.
That could be the case, but one thing about this league is everybody is so fantastic. You know, it's cutthroat to a point, but people want to help people catch fish. So, and every year I learn something new, and that's what's so fun about this is that I'm just gaining knowledge every time I come out here and fishing. So,
and being the newbie, I have a lot of people walk up, you know, nice to meet you, you know, where do you usually fish, what do you usually fish with, just kind of get you to, you know, get some knowledge, some information. And I go home and I'm just like, wow, I just learned a lot. And also fishing with a lot of these guys is intimidating at first, but it's like, wow, I'm fishing with these people. Yep. These great anglers, and learning a lot of information, and it's just, I actually smile every time I go home. It's just like, wow, I just did that. So,
what did you learn today?
How to adjust my Vexilar. That I went right back to the same way that I originally did. If it wasn't broke, I
comfort
wasn't gonna
level.
fix.
Yeah.
Yep, I was comfort. But it was a great day. Actually, we had a really great day. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Well, it's an honor having you in the league.
Thanks.
Keep it up. I'm excited to see how the next 2 events go.
We are too. It's going to be fun ones. So I think the next 2, especially the last one, is going to bring a pretty big bag. So you guys make sure you stay tuned in, especially to us ladies.
For us ladies, yeah.
Follow Amy and Allie and Amy at the next 2 events in the UPL. Here we go.
Thanks.
I'm here with Christina Ringgold and Ashley Just, our very first all-female Minnesota Made Outdoors team. The first question I have for the 2 of you is what made you want to join Minnesota Made Outdoors, and kind of how did that go when you guys were having that conversation?
So for me, I mean, it was really just to expand our knowledge. There's a great group of people that fish this tournament series, and so it was really a cool opportunity to get out and fish with them and learn from them, and that's what we're here to do.
Do you feel like you've learned anything in the 2 tournaments that you've fished so far?
Yeah, we learn so much even pre-fishing during tournaments. I mean, it's crazy how much we learn.
That's awesome. I mean,
for sure.
That means something, I think, from all of us, just to hear that. What advice do you have for other ladies out there that love to fish as far as like joining a circuit or a league like this goes? I know that you're very involved with WHAM, correct? So what would you say to those ladies? Does this feel intimidating to be around men or anything like that, or do you feel...
No, I think we could dominate this league, ladies, for sure. You know what it was? I'm not gonna lie, it was intimidating at first because I haven't targeted, you know, panfish or crappies that much. I've kind of gotten into like the walleye world. But now coming back and learning all these new techniques, different things, like we have a lot to bring back to our WHAM tournaments, and I hope a whole bunch of other ladies will come and join. I mean, it's been a blast so far.
Yeah, I think I watched you girls stick a few fish today, and I wasn't surprised at all. You girls were hammering crappies this morning. You got a full bag today. That's got to feel pretty good, right?
It was awesome. Yeah.
And something to build on. So let's talk about that. Like, what are some of your goals that you guys established for the year? Or have you done that yet?
Well, we started at the bottom for sure last time.
Only one way to go.
Right?
Only one way to go.
So we're definitely going to move up from there.
Well, you've already done that.
Yep. I think now working as a new team too is also a different thing. This will be our first year. Like, we're not expecting to be top 10 ever. I mean, we would love it by all means, but now learning like these new lakes that we've never fished. How do we want to go pre-fish them? Do we want to do cameras? Do we want to, you know, drop lines? You know, which areas do we want to look at? What do we want to look at? Breaks? Do we want to look at basins? Do we want to look at weed lines? And what weeds are good? What weeds are bad? All these different things is working as a team now. Like, one person's drill, one person's looking. Like, it's actually working out pretty good now.
I would say. I think that you girls work really well together. One of my favorite things is just fishing near you today. Is you like to have fun on the ice.
Oh yeah.
I like to have fun on the ice.
Yep.
Can't take it too seriously, right? We're here to have fun. It's competition, but like, how do you kind of keep yourself motivated with also keeping it light? Play some
It's
music.
just our personality. Like, that's
Yeah.
just what we do.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's, you know, riding around on a nebulous that accidentally deployed,
Yeah,
or
yeah, I saw that
you know,
video.
that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. I mean, if you get flustered fishing, like, that could throw your whole day. So keeping it light, keeping it fun. I mean, we like to play music. We like to sing. We like to like randomly like sing songs about crappies, bluegills. We like some rap music sometimes once in a while, but just keeping it light fun. We like throw our fish at each other, or like we're like, hey, we're like sliding across
Put this in the bucket.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun because we like watch all these other guys are like, oh, don't look. We're like, we can see you pull up your fish. Like, but so it's been fun.
Do you feel welcome, or do you feel like this is still like a pretty cutthroat league? What do you think?
I'm still extremely intimidated just because that's how I have roll, but the people here are awesome. I mean, they're so welcoming, and we've learned a lot even just in the last 2 tournaments from them that it's hard not to feel welcome. So we're going to do a great job with that.
You feel that way too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more outgoing, so I guess I don't really care what people think. So
There's
after
still a little grease on my window from that hot dog you threw at me.
It was a venison brat, you know. But yeah, I mean, the guys, like, especially like with this tournament. I mean, our first tournament, I think people might have been intimidated talking to us. I felt like maybe the guys were intimidated to us. But this tournament, like, the guys reach out like, hey, how's it going? What's working? What's not working? You know, if you need help, let us know. Like, we had auger issues, and people we didn't even meet yet, like, reach out like, hey, you want to use our auger? You want to do this? You want to do that? By the way, I owe you your tool back.
No problem.
But I mean, after today, like, I had a bigger heart for this like group. Just watching how people opened up and wanted to help and do different things, it was amazing, and I can't wait for the next one and see what else we need to do. And I mean, we're excited. Yeah.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to see how your girls progress. I'm excited to see how you do. A full bag of fish today is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 6 pounds of fish, nevertheless.
Yep.
You get to take fish home. And,
yeah, we don't eat fish, so we have
okay.
So we end up cleaning it for someone else.
Donate them to your local, one of your favorite seniors at your never mind. I'm probably
somewhere.
But
saying you want the fish?
No. But definitely looking forward to see the 2 of you grow, and I hope that this inspires other ladies to join.
Yeah, and I mean, if any ladies have questions about the league, or by all means, reach out to us. Like, we'd be more than happy. Or if you guys want to come pre-fish someday with us, or just see what it's like, come on out. It's fun. Yeah.
We'll be seeing you guys again, you girls, on West Rush. I'm looking forward to that. It's Hometown Hero Weekend. I hope that you enjoy it. We'll wrap up. Christina Ringgold, Ashley Just, Minnesota Made Outdoors. We're going to see you again soon. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Dale Luganbill of Full Scale Outdoors is going to give us his tips on how to break down a lake before you hit the ice using lake maps in the Laker Breaker.
Welcome to the Laker Breaker. This is a new segment we're doing here on the way in, where we are going to break down the previous week's lake. So if you're not a tournament angler and you just want to know like how we go about breaking down a body of water to maximize the biggest and the most fish, this is it. This is the Laker Breaker. This week we're going to be talking about Waconia. Now, Waconia is a deceptively large lake. When you look at it on like a map, it doesn't look that big. Until you get up to it, it is quite large, and it's very intimidating because there's a lot of water you have to break down. And so how do you go about doing that? Well, you pull up your lake map first and foremost, and then you just start picking spots that you think might hold fish. Well, what might hold fish? Well, we're looking at stuff like feeding flats. And what that means, and that can be deep or shallow. But what we know about this lake from tournaments in the past and this type of lake, clean water, lots of weeds, there's a high probability that the fish are going to be relatively shallow. Now, I say relatively shallow because you never know what depth range they're going to prefer. A lot of that depends on the type of weeds in that lake. So you pick a spot to start, and what I like to look for are what I call a feeding flat. So you're looking at your lake map and the lines, the demarcation lines of depth. You know, the walleye fisherman in you want to look for like deep, steep drop-offs, right? Not necessarily with panfish. Those can come into play on even shallow, weedy lakes like this. Well, it's not, the lake isn't shallow, but where we're going to be fishing is shallow. But you want where you got those lines close together, coming up out of deep water, but then leveling off for a little bit before then gradually getting shallower, or even then maybe dropping off on the other end. So you have a spot where the lines widen out on your map. That's what I'm going to consider a flat, because it kind of tabletops a little bit before it changes depth again. Now I'm going to drill that out, and either with my electronics or an underwater camera, I'm going to see if there is weeds there. If there are weeds there, what kind of weeds? Are they healthy weeds? And so you look around the lake and you start seeing those points and those weed flats, potential inside turns. You'll hear that a lot in fishing terms. So what that means is, like, if you have an inside turn, whether it's a break line or a weed flat, you have weeds that are growing and then they kind of go in and then back out. It's a perfect ambush spot for fish. They get the cover in the weeds, and then all around the sides, they can kind of attack potential bait fish or bugs or whatever. So inside turns can be good. But that's how you break down the lake. You look at the lake map, and then you identify those areas. Now, a pro tip is, if the app you're using, I use Navionics, if you can color code your depth markers, that can really help you pick out the preferred depth once you figure out what that is. And that's only going to come in by using electronics, like I said, using an underwater camera, dropping it down there, seeing what's on there. So then we drop it down there. What are we seeing? What kind of weeds are we seeing, live or dead? Generally, you want really good green weeds. Waconia didn't have a lot of good green weeds this time around. It had a lot of dead weeds. At first glance, you might go, well, this is just trash. There's not going to be any fish here. And you may be right. There's not a lot of fish there. It didn't appear to be fish there. But one of the things that we found, and in talking with other teams, they found the same thing too. You had a bunch of dead milfoil that was kind of coming up, and it was laid over. You had to punch your camera through those dead weeds, get underneath, and under that canopy of weeds was a bunch of fish. And they're hanging out and they're just using that cover. And that made a big difference in the areas that we looked for. Again, then you start to break down what depth range, 5 to 7, 5 to 10, 7 to 8, 8 to 12, whatever the range you found fish in, and it can change year to year, day to day. But once you find out that window of depth, now you can start trimming that lake down even more quickly if you have it color coded. And so, like, on the way I have mine set up, it was like where orange meets pink, that's the money zone. And so now you can look at the whole lake map, and you can look for those wider spots of that pink or orange, and can go, okay, let's check that spot out, let's check that spot out, let's check. And so what that lets you do is eliminate 90% of the lake or more, and can really narrow down your search and start pinpointing those fish. And how this played out, again, talking with other teams, they found the same thing. Not only were they relating to these weeds, but they're relating to these weed clumps. So you would drill out an area that relatively all look the same. And they'd be like one stalk of weeds here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and then a big cluster, thick cluster. And that cluster would hold a bunch of fish. So that's what you were trying to isolate. That's what you wanted to then go in your pre-fishing, drop pins on, and then you could just milk run those spots on tournament day, or blindly just drill out a flat and hope to find them. But that's kind of how you go about breaking this lake down. That's how we did it, and you can use that in other lakes if you are similar lakes like Waconia. If it's got clear water, if it has good weed growth. But even if it doesn't have good weed growth, don't write it off immediately. Drop a camera down there, see what you see. Your eyes aren't going to lie to you. So then once you gather as much information as you can, the type of weeds, the kind of weeds, depth of weeds, that's how you break down the lake.
Lady Luck wasn't on Gordie Howarchuk's side last week. Let's see if he has a better go at it this time.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Gordie Howarchuk here. This is Dirty Money.
Brought to you by Dan Rawlings Real Estate. Also brought to you by Thunderstruck Exteriors.
Well, we had a kind of an up and down last week. The UPL guys I picked kind of finished middle of the pack. That'll happen. Good showings, not good enough for me to make any money. The Minnesota Made guys I picked finished second and third. Won some money there. I hammered the overs on both of them, nailed them. But then I checked in. Oh boy, we hit a mega. Yeah, Rates and Kratcha, my sleeper pick for the UPL, came in with a 10-plus pound bag and won the tournament, and jackpot. Boomy, boomy. Yeah, baby. Alrighty, on to tourney 3. We're going to start with the Ultimate Panfish League. They're out on a lake called Tatanka. Never heard of it. Sorry. Going to lower my bets this week just because I don't know what we're looking for. Don't know what the lake should produce, and so the over-under set at 9.08. They've gone over both times. I'm taking no over again. Probably put some decent money on that and settle down on the bets, but all right, the first pick there, I'm going to take Lutterman and Kraninger. They're coming in at plus 500. And then I'm going to take Kettering and Hyla at plus 400. Then I'm going to take Waldo and Gaston at plus 1,000. Waldo's done with the Crappie Chronicles now, so I think he's going to get out and pre-fish a little more. My sleeper pick for the UPL is going to be Rose and Isaacson at plus 2,800. Come on, boys, 2 weeks in a row. Would love to get me some more of these Mr. T starter kits. Yeah, buddy. All right, on to the Minnesota Made. Over-under set at 8.38. They're out on West Rush Lake. That's a pretty fair. You're going to have to find some good ones to stick them, but I'm going to take the under. I'm not going to put a lot of money on that one, though, because I don't think it's a good bet, but my first pick for the Minnesota Made, I'm going to take the Narrison Mueller team, still at even with Vegas. After a second place finish, they got knocked off the throne. We're going to go with them. And then finishing second, I'm going to take Bussin and Prunick at plus 1,300. And round it out, I'm going to take Ghizoni and Feniger at plus 950. Now, my sleeper pick is at plus 2,750, and we got a good shot here. Vegas didn't do their homework. These guys won it in 2018 out there. So, Jack Tomes and Jeremy Schwans, you're my sleeper pick. Go get them. We'll see what happens. Go get you some money. Peace.
That's going to just about do it for episode 2 of The Weigh-In. Before we go, please make sure that you're subscribed with notifications on, like and share the episodes, and while you're at it, head down to the comments section, give us more tips. Let us know what else you want to see, because we're doing this for you guys. I am your host, Tony Dahlberg, the real Tone D. Get outside, catch some fish, be safe out there, but always remember, Minnesota Made's #1 rule, don't be a douchebag. Thanks.